Facebook family, how y'all doing out there? It's Joshua, I Standard, here with you on today. I just want to chat with you for a brief moment about something I was looking at about a week or so ago, just to put this information out there and kind of see if it'll point us in a direction where we can provide some aid to our community as it relates to youth violence and violence in the community concerning our youth and our young adults, particularly in all communities, right? These risk factors are equivalent in all communities, but particularly in the Black and brown community. Just some things we can give our attention to aid and support pointing our young people in a different direction. So the title of this live is Protective Factors and Risk Factors. And what protective factors are in the therapeutic world are items or things that can increase the likelihood that a young person will stay out of trouble, so to speak. And the risk factors are indicators that could lead young people into getting into trouble. And so I want to just put a couple of those out there for you, and we'll start with risk factors on an individual standpoint, family standpoint, and then just keep going from there. Please hit the like and share button. We'll appreciate any comments that you may have. Feel free to comment on the video, provide feedback. We'll appreciate that. What's up, Minister Presley? God bless you on your end. Keep doing what you're doing with the comedic commentary. Even as a leader in the community, as a pastor in the community, it's good for people to see your humanity, and you are indeed human. And thank you for that. The topic tonight, we're talking about protective and risk factors as it relates to our young adults and as it relates to youth violence. And again, protective factors are indicators that tend to allow us to understand what keeps young people out of trouble. And risk factors are indicators that allow us to understand what may cause young people to get in trouble. So let's look at some risk factors. And I'm going to just rattle some out and we can talk about them. How you doing, Johnny? One, from an individual standpoint, is a history of violence or victimization. A history of early aggressive behavior, involvement with drugs, alcohol, tobacco, poor behavior control as it relates to emotional IQ. I talked about that on another video I did, talking about emotional intelligence, emotional IQ. I think being able to have high emotional intelligence means that you are aware of your emotions, but also the emotions of others. But many times in our community, we are popped for being emotional. We're taught to not cry. Boy, you better not cry. Get up, dust yourself off, and hey, it don't hurt that bad. What are you talking about? Get up and keep going. And so it's actually confusing to a young person, and when they're in those 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old stages where it's like, well, darn, it hurt. I want to cry. That's the emotion that I want to give off. And as parents, it's like, don't give that emotion off. Give something else off. Be tough and be angry. And then and you're actually teaching the child not to have any emotions at all when they are feeling a certain way. So that emotional IQ is important. High emotional distress, just being in environments where it's chaotic and where there's no love, where there's no positive and warm embrace to lift the child up, to build that individual up. Also antisocial attitudes and exposure to violence and conflict in the family. So those are all individual risk factors that if a young person is exposed to those things early in life, it could be an indicator that they could potentially get into some trouble or go down the wrong path. Also, from a family standpoint, and I'm getting this information, you guys, this is pulled off of the CDC website, so you can go to CDC website. From a family standpoint, authoritarian child rearing attitudes. And that's one thing we just finished talking about when it comes to, get up, dust yourself off, move on, do what I say. I'm the adult in this house. You better not talk back to me. And listen, it's, we want young people to be respected. However, we have to teach that respect and we have to then cultivate it. We just can't expect the child to wake up and understand what respect is. You have to teach that when they're very small so that they can grow and blossom into what it is to be a respectful adult. And the same thing that was respect in my day and age, it may be slightly different in this day and age. So as parents, we have to stay educated on what it is to parent in a new century and in a new generation and parent a new generation. Harsh or inconsistent disciplinary practices, low parental involvement. I try to make sure no matter what I'm doing, that I go to everything my son is involved in. And if I can't go, I let him know why I can't go, and his mom will go with him. And if his mom can't go, he understands. It's just not, we're just not showing up because we're not showing up. We communicate why we're not showing up so he can connect the dots in his mind. Because, kids talk to each other, you know what I mean? And if somebody say, hey man, where's your dad at? He'll understand. He won't feel some kind of way because the child asks him where his dad at. He'll better say, hey, my dad can come today because he's doing this or doing that. He actually asked me yesterday, we were riding home, and he was like, Dad, when you have one of the meetings that you be doing, them Zoom meetings, are we gonna be able to go to swim practice, or am I gonna have to stay at home? And I was like, I can manage those, kiddo. I can schedule those, And so kids know, man, they are very aware and attentive, whether you realize it or not. Parental substance abuse, poor family functioning, poor monitoring and supervision. And supervising your child doesn't mean that you are a correctional officer. It's not all about, I'm watching you to correct you. Supervising your child is about putting them in environments where they can thrive, and you watch them from a distance and you smile at the growth, at the development, because you have identified what it is that they need to be attached to. And you can sit back and just smile like, that's my son. I used to go to games, and my son, he would hit a nice ball and, catch a scoop one up playing baseball. And, I would look and I would just smile, and people in the audience would be like, man, that kid is good. And I would always tell him, I was like, listen, it's bigger than just your skill, son, because your skill and talent, because you can have the skill and talent, but if you don't work hard, somebody that may not have the skill and talent you do, but they have hard work ethic, they'll come and run laps around you. So you have to be careful with that. So those are some of the family risk factors. And let's talk about peer and social risk factors. One that I'm sure every parent is concerned about. Like, I'm sending my child to school. My child want to go to the park. My child want to go to the game. Like, who is he hanging out with? Who are they hanging out with on social media? So some of the peer and social risk factors that you have to look out for is association with delinquent peers. And I'm not saying you should judge people. Like, people make mistakes. Young children, adolescents, they make mistakes. So I'm not saying to judge them, but you need to be aware of who your children are hanging out with. Involvement in gangs, social rejection by peers. If your child want to be a part of something and they get rejected, or they want to hang out with this group, they get rejected, that could be an issue. And so it's important to demonstrate to our children the strength that they have from within, the internal strength concerning who they are. They should know their worth. They should know how to be independent. And so anything that they are a part of is just going to be better, and they're going to make it better. Like, if I'm not a part of your group, you're the one who's missing out, because I'm going to bring something to the group. And so you not allowing me to be a part of your group, that don't mean nothing to me. And that comes from a young person knowing who they are, and they understand the principles, the morals and values that are given to them by their family, and they can stand on that. And they won't be, teetering, tottering from this group to that group to this group to that group. And I think that's how bullying can really take our young people out, is when they do not have any understanding of who they are as an individual. And even when they are strong, it still stings when you are bullied. So I'm not letting the bullies off the hook, but at the same time, we want our young people to be strong enough to not bend to the ideas and thoughts that others may have of them, and not hold true to what their parents are saying about them. Lack of involvement in conventional activities. There are some communities that do not have access, and so it's important to for communities, churches, organizations to have things in the community that young people can get involved in that are pro-social, that teach them skills, that develop them, but also give them a positive outlet, a fun outlet before they're able to, go and get ideas and things from other places, because they got to go to school and they learn about other conventional activities, or they on social media, they learn about other activities that they can engage in, and so you want to give them a heavy dose of what it is to be right and do right early on. So let's look at some protective factors, and I don't want to beat this down. I got to take the little guy to swim practice in a minute, but the protective factors are the indicators that let us know that, okay, we can get this young person on the right track if they are exposed to X, Y, and Z. Some of the individual protective factors are, having an intolerant attitude towards deviance or deviant behavior, like, that ain't the right thing to do. Nah, I don't know about that, man. You go ahead. I'm gonna just go home. I don't think that's the right thing to do. Also, having a positive social orientation, like, being aware of what it is to have good social skills and apply those in different environment. Being popular amongst the peers that they associate with, having, high developed social skill and competencies. And who develop those for a young person? It's the parents that should be developing social skills and competencies in the home, or getting them involved in the community to develop those skills. We can't lean to the school and the school only to develop those skills. And so even spiritual beliefs, spiritual connections are also an individual protective factor. And then from a family standpoint, connectiveness to families and adults within the household and outside of the household. Abilities to discuss problems with parents openly. What if your child came to you and said, hey, I seen a naked picture and, I want to know what that's about. Are you going to go off on them and spank them down? Or are you going to have a conversation to give them insight that will, allow them to be conscious and aware that it may not be time for them to look at such? How are you going to balance that? That's important. Frequent shared activities with parents. Do activities with your children, board games, movie nights, play the video games with them, do a TikTok with them. I see that a lot on TikTok, parents doing TikToks with their children. I love it. They're doing these little skits with their kids. I love it. Do more of that. Be involved in their life. Be involved in their social life, and be involved in their academic life, and be their parent also. You can be all of that, and you can do all of that with your child, and they still have your respect, and you have their respect. Use of constructive strategies for coping with problems. Coping skills are important, right? Because, the world is just not, peaches and cookies and cake. There's some difficult things that we face day to day. Our young people are more traumatized now than they were in our day. When you talk about violence at school, you talk about young people being murdered at a young age, people dying with COVID, teachers dying with COVID, their peers are dying with COVID. It's so much that traumatized them. And so we have to give them good coping skills, good problem solving skills, that they can make the right decisions in the heat of the moment and not be reactive, but be proactive and be have the ability to think and process information in the heat of the moment and not just be reactional. Because if you're reactional, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna make a bad decision, especially when there are emotions involved. If you go with your first gut, it's probably not the best decision for you. And so you want to be able to demonstrate that to your children, have conversations, do role plays, when I work corrections with juveniles, we would do role plays like, you know, if you're in this situation, how is this going to work out? What can you do? Let's talk through this. Give you more than one option if you're faced with this situation, so that they'll know, you know, because that knock is going to come. And then also from a protective factor standpoint, last one is peer and social protective factors. Close relationship with positive peers. And, you know, we can chop positive up to a lot of different ways. Positive to one person may be different from another. But as long as the outcome is progressive and it points the young person in the right direction, that's kind of how I look at being positive. Exposure to school climates with, you know, intensive supervision, clear behavior rules, expectations, firm disciplinary methods, but fair disciplinary methods, and engagement with parents and teachers. Commitment to school, and not only a commitment, but being invested in the school. Parents being invested in school. Don't just go to the school, but be invested in it. Be involved in it. You know, make sure that you know the teachers and the teachers know you, and you know the ins and outs of the school. Don't just show up when the child gets sent to the office and you act as if there's been some kind of disservice. Be involved, parents. And I know we all work different jobs and our schedules are filled, booked to the T. I get all of that. But at the same time, we can look at the news and know that we need change. We can look at the internet and Facebook and know that we need change. And just sitting back thinking about it ain't gonna accomplish anything. We got to take action. And you know, charity begin at home. You know, so what are you doing with your children? What protective factors are in your home that exist in your home? And also what risk factors exist in your home? Think about that as well and make the necessary changes, because we need your son and we need your daughter. We need your lawyer. We need your doctor. We need your young teacher. We need your football coach. We need your football player, your basketball player. We need your business owner, your entrepreneur, the one that you're raising. We need them to be productive citizens, not only for themselves, but also for the greater good of the community. I ain't asking for nothing. I'm going to work hard for everything. And I ask that you do the same thing, because I believe in you and I believe in our community, because I want to live in a peaceful environment. And so I'm going to do everything that I can. And I ask that you do the same to make an impact in the lives of our young people, because they are important. We need our young people. We need the next senators, the next legislators, state representatives, judges, right? We need our young people to take these positions that are being vacated. The batons are being passed, and we need our young people to be ready. So thank you all for tuning in. Please like and share. Next week, next Tuesday, we coming on, and we're going to have a great discussion about how to help young people understand how to transact. And we're going to talk about many different transactions, but we want to teach them how to transact and transact properly to get the right result that they're looking for. Hey, peace out. Coach Jay gone, man.